back and forth. There we go. Okay, so let's do some introductions before we kick off. We've got two great presentations today. If this is your first time at 1 Million Cups, please introduce yourselves and what you do. Who wants to go first? Maybe it's not your first time, but it's the first time I've ever seen you guys here, the first time I've seen you here. So go ahead.
My name is Peter Bostwick, and I'm with a company called YCC Advisors. We help small, medium businesses and entrepreneurs figure out what they want to do.
Like small business advisory type stuff?
It's more about entrepreneurs. We try to startups.
Awesome.
I'm the other half of that.
Now, what's your name?
He does technology, I do the organization business.
Awesome. What's your name?
I'm Beth.
Beth, good to have you here. You guys want to introduce yourself? Have you been here before?
I have. Let this guy go.
Yeah, my name's Ryan Brown. I'm a freelance web developer. So
Awesome. Good to have you.
My name's Harley, and I'm with a company called Atlas Real Estate. We do a lot of different things in real estate. I'm also an entrepreneur kind of at heart, and I love this group. So don't talk to me about real estate. Hey, Marcus, you won't shut me up.
Yeah. All right, anyone online want to introduce yourself? Go ahead and turn on your camera, raise your hand, get my attention. Do we have any first timers online? No. Okay. Well, is there anyone who's not a first timer but wants to practice that question? So what do you do?
You know who hasn't introduced themselves in a long time? Chris Radcliffe.
Chris, who are you? What are you doing now? Yeah, you have a new introduction.
Well, yeah. What am I doing now? Well, my background is advertising. I'm a designer. I specialize in branding and photography. I'm also an entrepreneur with a couple of different companies currently running. Color Pocket, the complete portable coloring kit for kids and adults, and the Drink Defender, which defends your drink from bees, bugs, and drugs. So, yeah, that's me, and I help out a bit at 1 Million Cups.
Excellent. All right, Marcus, do we need to call out anyone else? We're good for now. All right. Cool. All right, well, who's got some community announcements? What's going on in the broader world of entrepreneurship in Northern Colorado that we need to know about? Spring seems to be the time to kick off events, but I don't know what's going on.
Is spring the most entrepreneurial month because it's the time for new beginnings day?
Spring is a season. I would say so. Yeah. I think I've registered both my businesses in.
All right. So that would be the suggestion, is get some events going, because we used to do this and there was so many events, something going on. So that'd be my challenge to you all. I've been trying to do it myself.
Oh.
Brooker, and the Brooker moved on before we could actually get the beers with Jeff Fox. So now it's gonna be.
I feel like the name is not that important.
Totally.
Just here's with, there's the new, when's that starting?
Probably here in like 2 weeks.
All right.
Yeah.
Marcus?
I have a parcel through April 22nd and April 23rd after a 2-year hiatus. FOCO MX returns. You only have 2 weeks left to buy your blind faith tickets, which is $40 before the lineup is released, because the prices continue to escalate after the lineup comes up, and then obviously gate prices, it goes up, I think, $10 at a time. So if your lineup comes out 60 at the gate in late April, there is yeah, exactly. Eddie is having its first networking event for holistic health professionals on Friday, March 25th. From 9 to 10:30. We've had several presentations over the course of this year so far that I feel like folks would be a good fit there, particularly some of our action between being an entrepreneur and maintaining your sanity. And then finally, our friends over at the SBDC called Building a Business Plan with Purpose and Durability over at the SBDC, and that is April 7th and 14th from 2 to 5.
Are you presenting there, Mike? It sounds like your type of topic. Not yet. I'm getting sort of Mike Bennett, who is center point of what's a good word for, like not an anchor tenant, but with small business development center, SBDC, working on financial of a business. You give them a call, you get free advice from brilliant people like Mike. All right,
Yeah, so
Natalie,
this is not
what's everything?
directly an entrepreneur event, but it's for entrepreneurs to relax if you want to. Series, the first outdoors concert of the season is going to be April 16th at the Sunrise Ranch. Early after 8 of those coming up in the following months. And then we're redoing our summer festival this year, which we of course didn't do for the last 2 years. So it's .org. You can get tickets to see what our events are.
Awesome.
What was the organization?
Off the hook.
Offthehookarts.org.
Thank you.
OFF, off the hook.
Right.
I have an event I want to run.
Okay.
Has anybody ever heard of bar camp?
Our camp.
It was kind of a thing, kind of like a long time ago, but it's like an unconference. So you have different tracks. So you'll have like entrepreneurship, you'll have tech, you'll have design, you'll have knitting, kitchen sink. Anybody gives a presentation, like you don't know what the presenters are or what the presentations will be because everybody signs up when they walk in the door.
Oh, okay.
So just curious, if anybody had heard of it?
Open mic.
They used to, Doug Cannon used to do something like that.
Doug Cannon?
Yeah, well, he's done past with the county, but
Okay.
Yeah, it was Brian.
the
Yeah.
pitch contest or
Well, if you
whatever.
guys get that started, keep us posted.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I was just curious if anybody had run it in the past, so.
All right, well, cool. There's a lot going on out there. Well, we will get started with our presentations and hang around afterward, drink more coffee. We'll try to keep the pot full. We need a bigger pot now. Our first presenter today is Daniel James with Daniel James Media. You can see his material up here behind me. He is, and this will, 2 of these 3 things will become obvious as soon as he starts speaking. He is a South African ginger. His description, not me. The third is he break dances, and we probably won't see that in the presentation today, but he's wearing a vest. I was hoping we could see some break dancing. So South African ginger break dancer. That is how he introduced himself to us. All right, Daniel James.
Okay, thank you. Probably share the screen, huh?
Yep.
Okay, let's get that going. Make sure everyone can see everything.
And online you can hear okay?
Can you guys hear everything? Hello? Seems like we're good.
Stephen, Chris.
So we might as well jump into it. Let me start my little timer here. So do I just go whenever?
Go for it.
Okay, let's rock and roll. Okay, hey everybody, welcome to this presentation. How in the world do you maximize a website? You've had this question, you've seen different sites, you've had experiences. I am gonna attempt to answer that question because no one knows everything, right? The tip of the iceberg is what we're gonna cover today, just so that you guys know that. But to kind of go into this, I like to think about websites as cities. Why? Cities bring in traffic. They have areas where traffic gets engaged, where people need to sit down, hang out. And the longer you keep people in your city, the more revenue your city drives, right? I own a web design agency. We're rebranding away from my name because that's a bad decision, letting you all know, to djm.design. So you can find us at that link. The new designs are coming out pretty soon. There's my beautiful wife. I came to America 10 years ago for the American dream, and I am definitely so impressed with Americans. I became a citizen last year through the pandemic, and it was crazy. This is my office space that I wanted to show you guys quickly. I'm downtown Greeley, for those of you who are curious, and we have a video studio as well. It's like a mini articulate for all you Fort Collins people. I haven't been here since 1 million cups, about like before COVID. So this is very new, and I'm very excited for all of you to learn something new. So the first question I have for you guys is, where are you on the spectrum? Are you a DIY owner? Are you an outsourcer? Are you a big boss employer? Each of those come up with different concepts, right? So just think about someone who's DIY, they're bold, they're gonna try and do it themselves, but what's the risk? Someone who's an outsourcer and they're marketing director, entrepreneur, and then big boss employer, they don't even wanna hear about the project. They just wanna know it's working, right? What's the results? So why is this so important? And a lot of people talk about demographics, audience. I'm not going to bore you with that because you guys all know you should find your target demographic. We use data that we pay for from the libraries, from universities to help clients find that, right? We consider it a multimedia design agency, and there's a lot of designers out here. So you may take some of my secret sauce, but that's okay. You take as much of that sauce as you want. Sounds kind of weird, but you get my point. So there's a few elements that could go into engagement. There's, like I said, a huge spectrum: SEO, keywords, content, blogging, blah, 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 blah. Okay, boring, too much stuff. I want to simplify it to the thing that I found to be very impactful: video impact, being bold, breaking the mold, reviews, Google My Business, and how this all works. So first of all, here's a client that blew my mind. We had a video ranking, which is called One Way's Ticket to Hell. It's terrible. It was on their first page. So what did we do? We came up with a stop motion Lego animation of their HOA, made it friendly, cartoon, funny, right? I talk a lot about design psychology and sales psychology. We boosted that video to about 50,000 people and outranked them on the first page. So yeah, when you search for the company, you find them. Breaking the mold, getting different. So at the end, you're going to ask me questions, and I want you to ask questions about how you're maximizing, okay? I want to focus on that. Breaking the mold is really good. Like, do something completely opposite of your competitors. We use the fire video for a hand product that heats your hand during the winter. And a book you can read for that is Get Different. So it is phenomenal by Mike Michalowicz. Something on Google My Business no one is using is the posts. These posts have generated so much interactions for my business. It's been crazy. Secondly, using keywords in the review section. Thirdly, using keywords in the picture section, because Google actually reads those keywords in your pictures. Okay. Moving on, I want to talk more about the what, and we've talked a little bit about the how and the what, but a lot of people say traffic is king. I disagree. I believe engagement is king. Okay. You can get as many people to your site as possible, but can you engage them? This is a simple example of how we take a website that looked like masterclass. We used a similar design because we saw the engagement was through the roof, and it worked for a celebrity event company. The second thing you can do, and you should really think about, is an Irish food store up here bought this domain for $10,000. It already had traffic. And so from day one, he was making sales. Very, very important. Think about the power of being able to acquire that type of domain. Promotion. Think about a tree and a fruit. Your website's the tree, the fruit's promotion. You eat it once, it's done, okay? I like to build that tree as deep and as strong and have as many roots on it as possible. This is a spin and win. I have one at the end that you guys can look at. Here's a video on top of a credit form that helped engagement. I'm going to skip through a few slides just to help you guys. Videos create 80% more engagement on websites. That's a lot. Your session time gets increased by 3 minutes just by having a video on the top of your website. This is a promotion. We're up to about 9,000 that we made from the promotion. These are like strategies and things that we go through for clients, and the data we look at, things that you can use like heat maps. If someone's clicking somewhere, that means we need to put something there. That's psychology, right? We're using what people are doing with surveying to use that ability to make a successful design. I'm going to close off here for you guys. This is our team. We're very multicultural, 15 of us from all over the place. Some of us from Greeley, Aurora, Brighton, and then we have a guy from the Caribbean. I'm not going to talk about pricing because I'm not trying to sell you. This is an example of a client who was on a monthly plan. Their engagement was good, and then they were too bold as a DIYer, got a little bit too ahead of themselves, and now the engagement dropped. The website looks really bad. So DIYers, be careful. Don't get too confident. It's going to kick you in the butt. Trust an expert. Trust someone who can do it. Lastly, I did mention we do domain acquisitions, a new part of our business. This is the end of my presentation. If you guys want to engage more, there's 2 QR codes, one for a gift promo, the one I mentioned in this presentation. It's a spin and win. You get 11 tips on what agencies are not telling you if you do that promotion. Secondly, our YouTube channel is Money Brew. I would love to get more subscribers today. We really need to grow. And I have so many videos for business owners, entrepreneurs, marketing directors. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Originally a 16-minute presentation. And thankfully I have an accent where I talk fast and some of you wouldn't have heard me, so that's fine. But I really wanted to get to questions of some engagement ideas you guys had. I'm not looking for too much critique on the presentation because I know it needs work. And I know that I'm a designer, so we want to shock you right away. So I want questions on engagement and what stuff you guys have seen as well in that field. So but yeah, thank you for giving me the platform.
When you say engagement, do you mean, what do you like expand on that? I kind of understand what you mean, but like maybe pin down how we
Yeah.
could help you with that.
Yeah, and I think that is a high level concept. When we talk about engagement, my favorite metric is obviously conversions. And how is someone gonna be on your website and forget about you, or are they gonna remember you? And so when I talk about engagement, I want people to remember you and take at least one step, one action step. Preferably watching that video to the end, preferably clicking on that button and going into the next funnel, and converting with you, building a relationship. Memorable, correct.
Memorable would be my suggestion, you
Yeah.
know, like,
That's a good word.
and get folks to say no.
Yeah,
As an advertiser, I'm reading a book on negotiation,
yeah,
and it's a lot better word for us all if we just get to the no,
yeah.
but flipping your head around to where I want you to say no as a yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I like that. One of the best lines I've heard when doing it for other designers out there, it's a technique we use. It says, well, would you be opposed to this option? And so default, you have to say, no, I wouldn't be opposed. So I love that. So
it's hard to get your head around it, but that's engagement.
Yeah.
Like, and that book also would be a good one to get you to actually get folks to move up off the table or whatever it is, like, and they don't even know it.
Yeah, I think the goal with this one was for you guys to have some cool stuff that to look at, and maybe engage with. What's the book's name?
Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss.
There we go. Cool.
Well, it's 1 minute cut, so I can't help but critique your presentation.
Okay.
I was surprised to see how big your team is.
Sure.
So when you started, I wasn't sure if it was just you and what you said, it's 16 people.
Yeah.
I really like that you're using a website to present instead of PowerPoint. We see a lot of graphic designers or web designers presenting using PowerPoint. So it shows the
Yeah.
website you built, right? So this was really a cool way to go through it.
Mhm.
Definitely way more content for 6 minutes.
Yeah.
But good focus on, maximizing your website. I am curious to know your ideal or target customer. Is it content creators who are just trying to draw traffic and engagement with their brand, or selling product?
Good question. I love it. And so I didn't put that in the presentation because it take too long. Our ideal clients are people in construction, real estate, industrial manufacturing,
Service organization.
service organizations. Their services are usually offered at a higher rate. And we've also found that we get a lot of good grant programs for those people. We've dabbled a little bit with restaurants, and we've dabbled with some other type clients as well. But yeah, we try and keep it in that space just so we can get better and better at it. Dealerships are also in there, so probably down from that list. So yeah,
What about like investments and insurance?
we do have an insurance company.
Because it seems like you're rooted in, a lot of people here are rooted in financial literacy.
Sure.
And that's what's speaking to me about your, like, all right, so what's my needle movers here in my business? And,
Sure, I like that. That's a
like,
great
but
point.
those people need you more than they know they need you.
Yeah, that's good.
Real estate people don't need you.
Real estate people, there's so
Yeah.
many good tools, like for $200, never.
For those of you online, if you have a comment or question, go ahead, raise your digital hand and we'll get yours going. Any other comments or feedback for Daniel James? James?
Question. We're just about to start a major marketing push, as we talked about. And what I found is that there are so many options on social that it's just a waste of time to try and cover them all.
Yeah.
So if I understood correctly, your approach is pick the ones that work and just focus your efforts on that.
Correct.
Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I've come to the realization after, I've been doing this for 10 years, but the biggest realization I've had, and it came from an SBA consultant, so big up to those people, was my best source of what has traction is putting it in the right place. So like putting in front of vendors, right? Real estate clients aren't like the most ideal, but they have, I call them gold mines. So once you found one, there's a guy who's running a company that's got a conglomerate of real estate people. He's got an HOA, he's got a property management company, and you do one of their websites and then all of a sudden you're doing like 5. And so I like to try and find those people through vendors, through using forms of media that work, like Google My Business has some huge potential, not trying everything, definitely not. And then deciding, like building the tree or eating the fruit, like paying for ads or trying to build something long-term, build a brand, right? If I try and sell you all day, it's going to eventually crumble. But if I have a strong brand, it's a lot more like long-term and stuff. But I would go straight to the vendor. It's the best source of sales you could ever have. We have a client called Buy-In, and their distributor page is phenomenal. Like they've reached out to all these vendors, and these vendors just install gates for them and put their hydraulic on the gate. So that's what you want. I mean, if you have a list of 1,000 vendors, you're going to be fed for a while. So yeah.
But as far as the medium,
okay.
it seems to me like YouTube is, I'm a big fan. So YouTube, and then, probably Google because they own the business.
Yeah.
Over Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff.
I personally, for business, have found that, and this will surprise you, YouTube is so much work. It's draining, and it's something you're gonna have to consider for a long time, because you're constantly thinking, what do they want? What do they want? On my channel, you'll see I have such random content because I'm building for what people want, not from what I'm trying to do. But news outlets are very powerful as well. A partnership you could try and look at is Newsbreak, any of these news outlets, because when you scroll on your phone, there's the news page on your phone. If you can get on that page, you're golden. Like we've seen like 30,000 interactions from the news page. And then second to that, I would say, yes, is your website, because no one can ever take that away from you. We've had our YouTube suspended. We had to fight back for it. So I hate for people to go through that. And I'm doing an episode this Friday with a company called Zova explaining how we got our channel back. Awful. I don't wish that on like my enemy.
Diversity too. You should be diversified in whatever you're doing in your business.
Well, let's get one more comment. Natalie.
Daniel, so you mentioned, by no means a specialist in any of these things, but so engagement, but I would tend to agree with you, it doesn't matter whether you have 1 million hits on your website. If nobody engages or converts to a sale, it doesn't really matter if that's what you're trying to do. No, so what I was going to say is, in your presentation, you mentioned that, and I know you made selections out of the message you wanted to do, because if you go through your whole presentation, there's more there. But most people probably don't, as you said, don't really understand or don't know exactly what engagement conversion is. So you may have customers you're looking for, like how many cars am I going to sell? Because my website is going to be, you were mentioning dealership, my website is maximized, is great. So this will translate in so many sales, which will then gives also the auto dealer or whomever it is, when they see customer, hey, go to our website, we've been able to, we've sold 15 cars because, our website is, that way. It's just a suggestion of explaining, because that's a differentiating factor. Most people will come in and tell you that, oh, it's, it's the hits, it's the statistics and whatever. Conversion and selling is ultimately what people are trying to do, unless it's an informational website, in which case it's a whole completely different thing.
Yeah, and there was a point on the slide that I quickly show, and then we can move on. But over here, this is the only time I have time, and I agree, like this presentation is like so crazy to try and do this. There's a point here where I talk about the funnel. So like our promotion, 900 come in, 56 actually play the promotion, 9 claim it, and 6 of them turn into sales, which is an average of, 3% conversion rate to 5%, which is common for companies. And that's like nerd speak for trying to get leads, right? Good leads. So, but yeah. Because you're going to want to get to clients who are not necessarily, obviously they're not this, as you said, they're not specialists in websites or whatever. So they're going to rely on your professionalism to help them sell. Yeah, exactly. Cool. So I like that. I think I definitely have to hit that one home better. I think engagement, using the word you had, memorable. Okay, thanks guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel James. Sounds like there are people who want to talk to you.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, we'll take a couple minute break while Daniel James clears up his equipment, and then we'll be back with Alex. So hit the restroom, grab some more coffee, get a conversation going, and we'll be back in a couple minutes. Okay, we've got everyone back online too. I should step into the camera for a second.
Yeah, this is my first cup of coffee I've had.
Oh, no.
Unless you want.
Oh, I'm
Still
sorry.
take a seat.
I didn't know you. I didn't know you.
So you're squarely. All right, we'll get back to it. Presenter number 2. I'm excited for this one. Alex Kulinski, who just moved to Longmont from Omaha about 7 months ago. But he's going to be presenting to us about FYI.io, as you can see on the screen. Alex is a roller coaster fanatic. And when I asked him, this was the test, like, what's your favorite roller coaster? He said, well, favorite wooden one is the El Toro. Favorite steel one is the Leviathan. And the favorite hybrid is the Steel Vengeance. And none of them are in Colorado because apparently our roller coaster, our theme park sucks. Take that from the professional. All right, we'll hand it off to Alex.
Everyone. So yeah, my name's Alex Kulinski. I'm the co-founder of FIO, and we are a how-to platform that empowers you to show the world how to do anything. So for this presentation, I'm not raising money. I'm not necessarily looking for feedback on presentation. I think for me, biggest thing is just trying to get more people into the platform and trying to give us as much feedback as possible. So whether that's positive, negative, like any feedback, super appreciate it. And then also, like I said, I'm relatively new to this community. So really who I ideally like to talk to are people who are in customer success, customer support, whether they're a SaaS company or a physical product company, those are types of folks. And then also we're transitioning, we're not transitioning, but adding a new product line to our software that's really tailored to like maker spaces, co-working spaces, individual creators. So any folks that you have that you think we can help out, we would love to get an introduction there. All right, so so my company basically started when I was in high school. A friend of mine asked me to help her with a video project, and since she's a girl and I was socially awkward, I uploaded a YouTube video instead of helping her in person. I swear to God, that's true. And long story short, that video got way more views than all the other junk I was throwing up on YouTube at the time. So I kept with it. Ultimately made about 100 different YouTube videos that were seen in virtually every country on earth over 23 million times. And in that process, really got a knack of just how to build tutorials that are really tailored to people's attention spans, learning preferences, accessibility needs, that type of thing. And a lot of my content was featured by some of these news organizations, which was pretty cool. So a few of the lessons that I learned was that the average attention span for a tutorial is about 2.5 minutes, that people equally prefer video and written guides, and that all the content needs to be easy to find, simple to navigate, and up to date. And I think, honestly, most important is that it has to be accessible, not only to people's attention spans, learning preferences, but also like how people want to learn and how they're even able to learn. But if you've watched a tutorial before, you just know that's not the case. You have to skip through long videos to find the part that's relevant to you. You have to read through walls of text and pages of forums and out-of-date blog posts to find kind of partial solutions to what you're looking for. And again, deal with the fact that a lot of it could be out of date. And this isn't necessarily the creator's fault. It's because the ecosystem of how somebody has to create a tutorial is a giant mess. People are leveraging, honestly, most of these tools to create a single tutorial. So if you think about it, you have content generation tools that you might be using Google Docs or Word. That content might live in a knowledge base. You might have a learning management system, a content management system. You're throwing your videos on YouTube. If you're having in-app software guides, you're using a tool like WalkMe. And it just becomes a giant pain. So not only is it complicated, it's also expensive for everybody to have to learn and pay for those tools. Again, it's not helping you create content that's tailored to how people want to learn. When you have that many tools, it's easy for that content to fall out of date. And the more content you make, the more painful it gets. And honestly, it's easier a lot of times for people just to contact support than find the solutions that they're looking for. And so that's why we built FIO. And so FIO is kind of like an 8-in-1, if you will, how-to platform that really helps you create tutorials that are tailored to how people prefer to learn. And to kind of show you what it is, this is our tutorial template. So the goal here is to not have you need to be an instructional designer to build a good tutorial. So you'll put in a short title, brief description, specify how long it takes somebody to complete the task, so you can be upfront with that. And then here on the next page, you upload your video, and we kindly suggest that your videos be about 2.5 minutes. And then on the right-hand side is where you build your written step-by-step instructions. So step title, description, this is all rich text, so you can have links to other resources, that type of thing. But what's unique about our platform is how we tie these two pieces of content together. So if you hit sync to video, you can click and drag this bar, and it's a visual way of telling our platform where that step occurs in the video. So as you add all of your written instructions, pair them to the video, it gets formatted in our tutorial player, which combines these two pieces of content together in the same location and they interact with each other in real time. So you'll always get the visual aspect and the more in-depth nature of written instructions in the same location. And if you're like me, you just don't care about the first couple steps, you can click on it, video jumps that point in time. So you just get to the point that you need the most. Let's see. You can also organize tutorials into categories. So if you want somebody to have, like, if you're basically building a course, if you will, you can have multiple tutorials in a category. You can have quizzes, capture that data. And then obviously this part's a little bit early. This is the beta of our knowledge base, but you can search through content. And the cool thing is, like, it's all modular. So you can embed this wherever your customers, need tutorials. And one of the cool things too is that it's multilingual as well. So even if you only speak one language, it's still global content. So for example, if I wanted to speak German, or if I have customers in Germany and I refresh this tutorial, you'll see it translates all that content to German. So. And one of the cool other things too, keeping content up to date is obviously a massive pain. So the idea with our platform is if you ever need to update the video or update the written instructions, you change it in our tutorial template and it gets pushed everywhere at the exact same time. So you don't have to worry about involving your customer support team, your engineering team, your product team, just to update content that might be in your app or knowledge base or whatever. So in the past, we've targeted like heads of customer success, product, at software companies, and all of our customers right now are paying $249 a month, but we're starting to transition. It's actually the first time I'm talking about this. We're starting to transition into more like the maker scene, the creator economy stuff. And so we're gonna have a free account, basically starting now. And so the idea with that is it makes it a lot more accessible. So anybody can create tutorials on how to do anything. And then we just run ads on the video to make up for that. And then our maker tier, it's basically $100 a year. But what makes that part unique is, unlike YouTube, where they take 55% of your ad revenue, we'll give you 85%. So it's a lot more friendly to those folks. So yeah. So again, idea for this is really just to get as much feedback on the product as possible. Like, give me all the questions that you have about the product or questions, concerns you have. Sign up for an account. Let me know what you think. And any introductions you think would be helpful, would love to get those sent my way. So thanks.
Fantastic. All right, who's got some questions, comments, or feedback?
So I have a question.
Yeah.
How long, if I'm just starting off on your platform, new customer, how long would it take me to put together a 5-minute instructional video about, changing a bike tire? I mean, in terms of using your platform.
So yeah, once you have the video is gonna be the most complicated part, right? But what I always say to do first is to write it out. So you can use our tutorial template and just create the written instructions first and basically use that as a script. Now I say script, it should not be a script. But then use that as the basis for your video.
So you have a pretty solid how-to on how to do a how-to.
Yeah, so we're very, so just to, am I supposed to start sharing my screen here? So just to show you how meta we actually are. So this is our tutorial template, right? And so we eat our own dog food. So we have tutorials baked in app on how to use our platform. So here's a tutorial on how to create tutorials on a tutorial platform.
Do you have data on how much time and how much people actually go and get tutorials on things? Before you did this, did you go back and look at the space of just, this kind of space and kind of do this, or you know what I mean?
A lot of it was just organic me learning about stuff, right? So when I was featured on NPR, I got a bunch of requests for the written versions of my videos, which obviously didn't exist. And so that kind of started this middle period between YouTube and File, where I had a WordPress blog and I would take my YouTube videos and put written instructions underneath. But what I found was that's a terrible user experience and it's a pain for me to maintain. Because if I have to update the YouTube video, okay, I have to either delete the video, which is a terrible idea, and then I have to upload a new version. I have to point people from the old version to the new version, and then I need to update the written content in WordPress. So that's kind of
so what you just said has prevented me personally from even trying to do any of that, right? Because it's so like, he just said YouTube, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And then we're all addicted to YouTube, right?
I pay for YouTube.
Yeah. So, dude, you got an excellent idea. We definitely got to chat more, but I guess I would really hammer in more on what you want out of us. Because I'm excited for whatever you got going on, but I don't know how I could. Do you want me to just go online and sign up for, is this an app? Or, that's actually my like technical questions, is like, where do I sign?
Yeah, so if you go to fyi.io, you just go to the sign up button and then you create your account. You don't require a credit card or anything, and you can get started creating content.
And how long is the free one for?
Well, so I'm glad you brought that up, because right now, like, the platform isn't necessarily built for that, but I get notifications when people sign up. So like, if you were to do that, I know you're coming through, and then I'll just put you on the free plan, basically. But if you're willing to pay for it, it's a 14-day free trial before it converts to paid. So.
Got Eric online?
Wait.
Yeah, sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the product. It's really cool. And I come from more of a SaaS background, and you were asking for input from that. And I think, having worked with support teams that, are answering questions on intercom at scale, we've used things like Soapbox to just shoot out a quick video where they're walking them through the product. But this feels like something even more just useful, in terms of the written part on top of it, and something you can distribute and then eventually push into your help suite. So I'd love to see more and understand more of how that could integrate into, a full tech support platform.
Yeah, we've actually gone back and forth with Intercom on trying to get them to support iframes, and they just refuse. So basically, when people talk about embedding, it's just like we work with pretty much everything but Intercom. But yeah, so the long story short, we have customers of ours that embed not just individual tutorials, but categories of tutorials with quizzes even inside their existing knowledge base, in their app, all over the place, really, marketing content. And all it is an iframe. So you go into our dashboard, you hit copy embed code, and you paste that wherever you want it to go.
Can users?
Do you have to have the video pre-recorded? Because that's the only thing I see here is it looks like I'm recording a video and then uploading it. Or am I able to just hop on, speak to the camera, and go through this process within your product?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we require that the video is already made. But there's great tools like the ones that you mentioned. I personally use Loom just to quickly create stuff and then throw it into our platform at the written instructions and embed it out. Something that we're thinking of, just that's probably the most technically complex piece that isn't like as high of a priority as we need, because there's other tools that do that way better than we would do, and we're super bootstrapped. So we have all those unique challenges there. But no, yeah. So again, I'm good at making long stories or short stories. Yeah. Short stories. I need more coffee, obviously.
That's why
I'm good at making short stories long and long stories longer. So
I love it.
but yeah, it's basically an embed code. So anywhere you can embed a YouTube video, asterisk, you can embed our content.
I think we had a comment from Ryan.
Yeah, so it seems like, yeah, you're embedding video by video, like individual, or did you say earlier that you can embed like lists or categories of like a list of items?
Yeah.
Just singular items.
Yeah, so for us, like we classify a tutorial as a video with written instructions paired to it. And then this sorry, repeat your question so I don't go off the.
So there's one individual video, one tutorial.
Yeah.
Is there a way to embed like a category of tutorials?
Yeah. Great question. So yeah, so this in our dashboard, if you go to categories, you can click and drag tutorials into categories. You can have multiple tutorials assigned to different categories. And then they get rendered like this. So you have all of your tutorials in this category over here. And then when you click on it, it loads up that.
And then just the other part of my question is,
Yeah.
Have you looked into like Zapier or Integromat in a way where, you post a new video here and then it automatically syncs with somebody's CMS so that, each of your videos will continue to be up to date on their website? Like, have you looked into Zapier or Integromat at all? It might be a really cool next step, to sync with those so that everybody's CMS can kind of like a bridge between the two.
The tricky part with that is that when you have a new video, all the steps might become out of sync. So the idea, we're basically replacing CMS in some folks' case. But yeah, like the idea is you can change a tutorial here and it gets pushed on all those different endpoints that you've shared that in the past. And I mean, one other thing too is like when it comes to like mobile friendliness and whatnot, like that's what it looks like on an iPad. And then if you're on your phone, it's obviously just smaller, but yeah. So it's super responsive and whatnot, but yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Alex. You guys can all grab him afterwards. We've got one more. I want to get Steven since he's online. Steven, do you have a quick question or comment?
Yeah, first of all, it's really interesting, Alex. Thank you for sharing your presentation. My question is, this seems like a good gateway drug for people who might need or might have been looking for creation of an online course, but then they looked at what that actually takes, and it can seem complicated. Have you considered integration with a paywall of any kind?
We just haven't had like any paying customers request that, basically, long story short. When it comes to that, what I have recommended previously is that folks use like Kajabi or something else that's really built for that. And then I believe you can still embed our content in there. And then you can set through an API to only have content load in like that environment. So it's not directly like what you're asking, but that's kind of like how we approach it. We've definitely thought about it. It's just that there's not like we haven't had the financial incentive essentially to make it happen. We've actually got, even though our like revenue is gotten a ton of revenue from our customers paying us to build features faster, which is pretty interesting. So
Turn off screen share. Great. Okay, let's wrap up the day. Those were great presentations. Thank you. For the week, what's been good? Mike?
So I have a win on April 19th. I'm going to get hooked up to Fort Collins Connection.
Yes.
After 4.5 years.
Right. Sometime next month, but I feel like they said that last year, and it happens when it happens.
Yeah,
All right,
I do.
anyone else got a win?
I am excited about launching my new podcast called Business Beyond DIY. Got 5 episodes out, so I got it posted on all the podcatchers, and I will throw a link in the. So thanks.
Awesome. Good job, Steven. All right, Chris.
Yeah, just a couple quick wins. I think Mike may have mentioned these last week or in the last couple of weeks, but Color Pocket has just signed a deal with Kaplan Early Learning to do custom content in our coloring kit for young students, and we're going to start selling through Kaplan. So that's pretty cool. And then the other thing is my other company, Drink Defender, with Mike Bartlemy. We are going to have custom branded drink defenders as part of the Vail Comedy Festival in late May. So that's going to be pretty cool too. A lot of you probably remember Mark Masters, who presented here at 1 Million Cups, and we've been sponsoring his comedy shows for the last couple of years, and the Vail Comedy Festival is going to be a lot of fun. So if you want to go to Vail in late May, go see some comedy.
There you go. Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, it's so cool to see these connections that Mark presented 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
All right, here's someone who wants to sponsor your comedy club. Or comedy event. Who needs some help? What can we help you with as a community? What's dragging you down?
So this is totally separate than my energetics business, but I'm looking at purchasing a WordPress plugin company and I'm interested in space. So if there's any hardcore WordPress developers in the room, I'd love to talk to you for coming. Also, if you know of anybody, if you could send them, I would appreciate it.
All right, cool. Everyone can catch that online. If you're a WordPress genius, reach out to James. Yeah, any more help you need or resources that you have to share with the group? I just discovered a great how-to platform. So if you do how-to videos, all right, well, if there's nothing else, have a great week. And I think there's going to be some good conversations. Hope to see you in person, but great to see you online regardless. Bye.
See you next week, everybody.